Tuck Everlasting,
an audio drama adapted by Mark Frateroli
from the book by Natalie Babbitt.
August. The first week of August hangs at the very top of summer, like the highest seat on a Ferris wheel when it pauses in its turning.
The weeks that come before are only a climb from balmy spring, and those that follow, a drop to the chill of autumn. But the first week of August is motionless and hot.
Silent, too. Blank white dawns, glaring noons, and sunsets smeared with too much color.
Often there's lightning at night, but it quivers all alone. There is no thunder.
No relieving rain.
These are strange, breathless days.
The dog days. When people are led to do things they are sure to be sorry for after.
We find May and Tuck on their wagon, driving steadily towards the small village of Tree Gap.
We're almost home.
Good. I was thinking I might nap.
Why? There's plenty of time to sleep.
I want to dream that dream again. The good one where we're all in heaven and never heard of Tree Gap.
It's no use having that dream. Nothing's going to change.
You tell me that every day. Anyways, I can't help what I dream.
Maybe not. But all the same, you should have got used to things by now.
And all the same, I'm still going to nap.
Well, I'm going to take the horse and go down to the woods and meet them.
Meet who?
The boys, Tuck. Our sons. I'm going to ride down to meet them. The boys will be home tomorrow. The boys will be home tomorrow!
I know. Still, you better not go down there.
But I can't wait to see them. Anyways, it's been 10 years since I went to Tree Gap. No one will remember me. I'll ride in at sunset just to the wood. I won't go into the village. Besides, if someone did see me, they won't remember. They never have before now, did they?
No. But be careful. Someone might see you, follow you to the tree, and then they'd find the spring. And if that happened, it could be a disaster.
We found the spring.
And look what it's done to us.
Foster's on the land now. It's private property. No one will trespass.
Except you.
I'm still going.
Suit yourself.
I am. Will you be all right by yourself? You won't be back till late tomorrow.
What in the world could possibly happen to me?
That's so. I keep forgetting.
I don't. Well, have a nice time without me.
Tuck leans back, and in a moment he's fast asleep. May rides away into the woods.
The sun opens its eye on the eastern horizon.
Another heavy morning. Hot. Windless. Breathless. Suffocating. Winnie slams the screen door and runs out into the yard, where she is surrounded on three sides by an iron, cage-like fence. Angrily, she throws pebbles into the woods.
Oh, I don't think I can stand it much longer.
Winifred, don't sit on that dirty grass. You'll stain your boots and stocking. And don't stay out too long. This breathless morning air is no good for you.
Ah! Oh, Toad, I'm sorry. I hope I didn't hit you. I'm just so cross today. My parents and Granny are always watching me. If I had a brother or a sister, there'd be someone else. But there's only me. I'm tired of being looked at all the time. I want to be by myself for a change. You can understand how I feel. I want to get out and do something. I'm not exactly sure what, but something interesting. Something that's all mine. Something that will make a difference in the world. I'd like to be like you, out in the open and making up my own mind. Do you know, they've hardly ever let me out of this yard all by myself. I'll never be able to do anything important if I stay here like this. I expect I'd better run away. You think I wouldn't dare, don't you? I will, though. You'll see. I'll run away first thing tomorrow while everyone's asleep.
Winnie Foster!
All right, I'm coming. I'll be right there, Granny. Hop away, Toad. You'll see. Just wait until tomorrow.
She turns to go. A stranger in a yellow suit and black hat appears out of the shadows. As Winnie reaches for the door, he speaks.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Out for air, are you?
Yes.
A lovely thing to do on a summer morning. A lovely entertainment. Why, I used to do it myself when I was your age.
But of course, that was a long, long time ago. Is this your house?
Yes. Do you want to see my father?
Perhaps, in a bit.
But I'd like to talk to you first. Have you and your family lived here long?
Oh, yes. We've lived here forever.
Forever.
Well, not forever, of course, but as long as there have been any people here. My grandmother was born here in Tree Gap. She says this was all trees once, just one big forest everywhere around. But it's mostly all cut down now, except for our wood.
I see. So of course you know everyone and everything that goes on?
Well, not especially. At least, I don't. Why?
Oh, I'm looking for someone.
A
family.
I don't know anybody much, but my father might. You can ask him.
I believe I shall. I do believe I shall.
The cottage door opens and Winnie's grandmother appears.
Winifred, who are you talking to out here?
It's a man. Granny.
What's that?
He says he's looking for someone.
What did you say he wants?
Good morning, madame.
How delightful to see you looking so fit.
And why shouldn't I be fit? We haven't met that I can recall. Who are you? Who are you looking for?
This young lady tells me you've lived here for a long time, so I thought you would probably know everyone who comes and goes.
I don't know everyone, nor do I want to. And I don't stand outside in broad daylight discussing such a thing with strangers. Neither does Winifred, so... My stars! I do believe it's come again. After all these years. Did you hear that, Winifred? That's it. That's the elf music I told you about. Why, it's been ages since I heard it last. And this is the first time you've ever heard it, isn't it? Wait till I tell your father.
Wait, you've heard that music before, you say?
It sounds like a music box.
Nonsense. It's elves. You'll have to excuse me now.
The stranger tips his hat to Winnie with an insidious grin, then leaves, whistling the melody. Winnie moves towards the cottage door. She stops. A determined look comes over her face. She runs eagerly back to the edge of the fence.
Toad? Toad? Toad! Oh, there you are. Did you hear that music? Now I've got something to do. Something that's all mine. I'm gonna slip out right now and go into the wood and find out all by myself what really makes that music. Of course, while I'm in the wood, if I decide never to come back, well, that'll be that.
Winnie turns toward the house to make sure no one is watching her as she pulls open the gate. She steps out and closes the gate behind her.
Well, maybe not all by myself.
Holding the toad in her hand, Winnie gathers her confidence and slowly walks into the wood.
The air is cooler in the wood, and smells agreeably damp. It is full of light, green and alive, quivering in splotches on the padded ground, fanning into sturdy stripes between the tree trunks. And here and there is a fallen log, half rotted but soft, with patches of sweet green velvet moss.
Why, it's beautiful here. Toad, why didn't I ever come here before? It's nice. What beautiful flowers. What was that? We should go. But, on the other hand, if it really is elves, we can at least have a look at them.
Winnie crouches and peers through the vines. At the foot of an enormous tree, relaxed against the trunk, is a boy, thin and sunburned. Winnie's curiosity grows, and she begins to creep forward.
Look, Toad. It's a boy. He's beautiful.
The boy rolls over and moves some stones at the base of the tree, uncovering a low spurt of water, arching up and returning, like a fountain, into the ground. He leans over, cups his hands, and drinks from the stream. When he leans in towards the boy and drops the toad and hops away, she reaches for it and falls, startling the boy, who jumps up from his spot on the ground. They both freeze and stare.
You may as well get up.
I didn't mean to watch you. I didn't know anyone would be here.
What are you doing here?
It's my wood. I can come here whenever I want to. At least I was never here before. But I could have come anytime.
Oh, you're one of the Fosters then.
I'm Winnie. Who are you?
I'm Jessie Tuck. How do?
Oh. Do you live nearby? I never saw you before. Do you come here a lot? No one's supposed to. It's our wood. It's alright though, if you come here. I mean, it's alright with me.
No, I don't live nearby. And no, I don't come here often. Just passing through. And thanks. I'm glad it's alright with you.
That's good. How old are you anyway?
Why do you want to know?
I just wondered.
Alright. I'm 104 years old.
No, I mean really.
Well then, if you must know, I'm 17.
17?
That's right.
Oh, 17. That's old.
You have no idea.
Are you married?
No, I'm not married. Are you?
Of course not. I'm only 10. But I'll be 11 pretty soon.
And then you'll get married.
Is that good to drink? I'm thirsty.
Oh, that? No, it's not. You mustn't drink from it. It comes right up out of the ground. It's probably pretty dirty.
But you drank some.
Oh, did you see that? Well, me, I'll drink anything. I mean, I'm used to it. It wouldn't be good for you, though.
Why not? It's mine anyway. If it's in the wood, I want some. I'm about as dry as dust.
Believe me, Winnie Foster, it would be terrible for you if you drank any of this water. Just terrible. I can't let you.
Well, I don't see why not. I'm getting thirstier every minute. If it didn't hurt you, it won't hurt me. If my papa was here, he'd let me have some.
You're not gonna tell him about it, are you? I knew this would happen sooner or later. Now what am I going to do?
There is a crashing of brush nearby, and the sound of a voice calling,
Jessie!
Thank goodness. Here comes Ma and Miles. They'll know what to do.
A woman appears, leading an old horse, and at her side is a young man.
Jessie, where have you been?
Who is that?
Jessie.
Well, boys, here it is. The worst is happening at last.
Does she know?
No, I didn't say anything.
Did she drink?
No, at least not yet.
We've got to tell her.
Before anything happens.
But if she yells, someone might hear her.
Then we'll have to take her away.
Miles throws Winnie on the back of the horse, and Miles, Jessie, and May run alongside Winnie and the horse, farther and deeper into the forest.
Please, child, please, we won't harm you.
Help! Just don't yell.
We'll explain everything.
We're almost out of the wood.
Everything will be all right, Winnie.
Horse is just around the bend.
Please, child, please. We're almost there.
I promise, you'll be fine.
Just beyond that tree.
Watch out for that branch!
They arrive at the edge of the wood, and there, standing on the road, is the man from before, the man in the yellow suit. Winnie's mind goes blank. Instead of crying out for help, she merely goggles at him as they flee past the spot where he stands.
Our little girl, she twisted her ankle. Gotta get her home.
Not one of them notices as the stranger watches them pass, turns slowly, and follows them, a small smile creeping onto his face.
Stop! Stop here! Dear Lord, don't cry. Please don't cry, child. We're not bad people, truly. We're not. We had to bring you away, and we'll take you back just as soon as we can. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? I want to go home now.
This is awful. Can't you do something, Ma? The poor little Tad. We ought to have had a better plan than this.
That's the truth. The dear Lord knows there had been time enough to think of one, and it had to happen sooner or later. He'd been plain bone lucky it hadn't before now, but I never expected it to be child.
May reaches distractedly into the pocket of her shirt and pulls out her music box. Without thinking, she winds the key with trembling fingers and the song starts to play.
That's the music I heard this morning when I was out in my yard. My granny said it was elves.
Dear me, no. It's only my music box. I didn't suppose anyone could hear it. Do you want to take a look at it?
It's pretty.
Wind it up if you want to. Clockwise.
It's really pretty.
Look here, Winnie Foster. We're your friends. We really are. But you gotta help us. Oh, how are we gonna tell her? It sounds so crazy.
Sometimes. I don't even believe it myself.
Believe what?
Winnie hands the box back to May. Miles wipes his face with his handkerchief, and May uses her hat as a fan. May, Miles, and Jessie look at each other.
87 years ago, the four of us,
3 of us and our Paul,
Angus, my husband, we came out from a long way in the east looking for a place to settle.
In those days, the wood wasn't a wood, but a forest that went on and on and on.
That's what my granny told me.
We thought we'd start a farm soon as the trees ended. When we came to this part of the wood, we turned off the trail to find a camping place. That's when we found the spring under the tree.
It was real nice. Looked just the way it does now. A clearing, lots of sunshine, that big tree with all those knobby roots. We stopped, and everyone took a drink, even the horse.
No, the cat didn't drink. That's important.
Yeah, and only that out, we all had a drink except the cat.
Well, anyway, the water tasted sort of strange, but we camped there overnight, and Pa carved a T on the tree trunk to mark where we'd been, and then we went on.
We finally came out of the forest. We're pretty far to the west, and started a farm in a real nice valley. Put up a house and put down roots.
Then we began to notice there was something peculiar. Jessie fell out of a tree.
I was way up in the middle, sawing off some big branches before we cut her down. I lost my balance, and I fell, landed plumb on my head.
We thought for sure he'd broke his neck, but we come to find out it didn't hurt him a bit.
Not long after, some hunters came by one day at sunset. The horses out grazing by some trees, and they shot him.
Thought he was a deer, they said.
But the thing is, they didn't kill him. Bullet went right on through him and didn't hardly leave a mark.
Then Pa got a snake bite.
And Jesse ate poison toadstools.
And I cut myself, remember? Slicing bread, and nothing. But the worst thing was none of us was getting any older. We'd been there 20 years, had a nice farm, lots of friends.
I was more 40 by then. I married, had 2 children, but from the look of me, I was still 22. My wife finally made up her mind. I'd sold my soul to the devil. She left me, she took the children and went away.
I'm glad I never got married.
It was the same with our friends. They come to pull back from us. There was talk about witchcraft.
Black magic.
Well, you can't hardly blame them. Finally, we had to leave. We didn't know where to go. We started back this way, just wandering like gypsies. When we got this far, it changed, of course. A lot of the trees were gone. There was people, and Tree Gap was a new village. The road was here, but it was more like a cow path in those days. We went on into what was left of the wood to make camp, and when we got to the clearing,
The tree, the spring,
we remembered it from before.
it hadn't changed no more than we had. That was how we found out.
Pa carved that T on the tree 20 years before, but it was just where it'd been when he'd done it. The tree hadn't grown one whit in all its time. It was exactly the same. And the T he carved was as fresh as it had just been put there.
Then we remembered drinking that spring water, us and the horse.
But not the cat.
The cat had lived a long time with us, but had grown old and died.
The only one to change.
When we came to the conclusion that the source of our changelessness was the spring, Tuck,
our pa,
he said he had to be sure once and for all. He took his shotgun, pointed at himself the best way he could, and before we could stop him, he pulled the trigger. The shot knocked him down, went into his heart. It had to be the way he aimed, and went right on through him. It scarcely left a mark. Just like, like you shot a bullet through water. And he was just the same as if he'd never done it.
After that, we sort of went crazy. Heck, we was going to live forever. Can you picture what it felt like to find that out?
Then we sat down and talked it over.
We're still talking it over.
And we figured it'd be very bad if everyone knowed about the spring. We began to see what it would mean. Do you understand, child? That water, it stops you right where you are. If you'd had a drink of it today, you'd stay a little girl forever. You'd never grow up. Not ever.
We don't know how it works or even why.
Pa thinks it's something left over from some other plan for the way the world should be. Some plan that didn't work out too good. And so everything was changed. Except that spring was passed over, somehow or other. Maybe he's right. I don't know. But you see, Winnie Foster, when I told you before I'm 104 years old, I was telling the truth. But I'm really only 17. And so far as I know, I'll stay 17 till the end of the world.
I don't believe in fairy tales, and I don't believe in Granny's elves. So how can this be true?
It is, Winnie. It is. Yeah. It feels so fine to tell somebody. Just think, Winnie Foster, you're the only other person in the world besides us knows about it.
Hold on now, maybe not. There might be a whole lot of others, for all we know, wandering around just like us.
Maybe, but we don't know them. We've never had anyone to talk about it to. Winnie, isn't it peculiar and kind of wonderful? Just think, all the things we've seen in the world and all the things we're going to see.
That kind of talk will make her want to rush back and drink a gallon of the stuff. There's a whole lot more to it than Jessie Tuck's good times, you know.
Oh, stuff. Might as well enjoy it, long as we can't change it. You don't have to be such a parson all the time.
I'm not being a parson. I just think you ought to take it more serious.
Now, boys. Well, child, now you share a secret. It's a big, dangerous secret. We gotta have your help to keep it. I expect you're full of questions, but we can't stay here no longer. It pains me to think of how your mom and pa will worry, but there's just no way around it. We've gotta take you home with us. That's the plan. Tuck, he'll want to talk it out. Make sure you see why you can't tell no one. But we'll bring you back tomorrow. All right?
May reaches out to Winnie, and Winnie takes her hand.
You make me feel important. All right, I'll go with you.
Woohoo! It's real fine having you along, Winnie Foster, even if it's only for a day or two.
What'd you bring to eat, Ma?
We can all eat on the way, can't we? I'm starving.
Just some bread and cheese.
Here, Winnie Foster. You can share mine as a new friend of the Tucks. Come on.
Hey, some left food's mine, Jesse.
Boys, come along, child.
You're my friends.
Of course we are.
The world really isn't so scary, is it?
Not always, child. Come along.
The stranger comes out from the shadows and looks after the Tucks and Winnie. He smiles and begins whistling. He's heard it all, the whole fantastic story.
The pastures, fields, and scrubby groves are vigorous with bees and crickets.
Everything else is motionless.
Dry as biscuit on the brink of burning.
But under the dark pines, the late sun's brilliance penetrates only in scattered glimmers.
Their branches stretch out protectively in every direction.
It is cool. So cool.
Blessedly cool. And green.
May, Miles, Jesse, and Winnie come upon the Tucks' house. It's worn down, tattered, and homely. The house is painted barn red with overhanging trees in the front yard and a pond on which the sun flashes. Angus Tuck can be seen standing just outside the house.
We're home. This is it, Winnie Foster. Pa!
Wake up. Woohoo! Jesse! Hey, wait.
Look at all of this water.
Yep, that's our pond. It don't take 'em more than a minute to pile into that pond. Well, you can't hardly blame them in heat like this. Come along now, child.
Where's the child? The boy said you brought along a real honest-to-goodness natural child.
So I did, and here she is.
There's just no words to tell you how happy I am to see you. It's the finest things that's happened in... Does she know?
Of course she knows. That's why I brought her back. Winnie, here's my husband, Angus Tuck. Tuck, meet Winnie Foster.
How do, Winnie Foster? Well then, seeing you know, I'll go on and say this is the finest thing that's happened in, at least 80 years.
Now, let me show this child around inside, and you, Tuck, finish making that stew. Those boys will be hungry.
Enjoy the house, Winnie. You might find it a little worse for the wearing.
Tuck disappears into the kitchen.
Don't mind him. Come along.
May and Winnie walk into the parlor. Winnie looks around at the dust, silver cobwebs.
Have you been away long too? This room needs such a dusting.
Good heavens, no, child. Tuck and I live here all the time. Only the boys have been away.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't worry. This place could use a good cleaning, but I never seem to find the time. Careful, Winnie. There's a mouse in that drawer.
A mouse? Should we try to catch it?
Why? Whatever for? It lives there.
In the drawer?
Of course. This is our parlor. That's the kitchen back there where Tuck went. Makes this room look neat, I guess. Watch those dishes, Tuck! He never seems to pile them careful.
Where do those stairs go?
Up to a loft. That's where the boys sleep when they're home. They come back every 10 years, first week of August, so's we can be a family again, for a little while.
Where do they go in their way? What do they do?
Oh, they go different places, do different things. They work at what jobs they can get, trying to bring home some of their money. Miles can do carpentering, and he's a pretty fair blacksmith, too. Jesse, now, he don't ever seem too settled in himself. Of course, he's young. That sounds funny, don't it? Still, it's true, just the same. But they can't stay on in any one place for long, you know? None of us can. People get to wondering.
That's too bad. Always moving around and never having any friends or anything.
Tuck and me, we got each other. And that's a lot. One way or another, it all works out. Life's gotta be lived, Winnie Foster. And no matter how long or short, you gotta take what comes. Funny, we don't feel no different from other folks. Leastways, I don't. Sometimes I forget about what's happened to us, forget it altogether, and then sometimes it comes over me, and I wonder why it's happened to us. We're plain as salt, us Tucks. We don't deserve no blessings, if it is a blessing. And likewise, I don't see how we deserve to be cursed if it's a curse. Still, There's no use trying to figure why things fall the way they do. Things just are, and fussing don't bring changes. There! The boys are back from the pond. Here, child, hide your eyes. Boys, are you decent? What do you put on to swim in?
For goodness sakes, Ma. Think we're going marching around our all together with Winnie Foster?
Well, we jumped in with our pants on. We were too hot and tired to shed them.
Well, all right. Go dry yourselves off.
Too late. Put your shirts on. Dinner's all ready.
Woohoo! Jesse!
I don't feel too good. People shouldn't eat with strangers. Chewing is a very personal thing. And that story you told me, living forever? Why, you're all crazy. I want to go home.
Why, of course you do, child. That's only natural. I'll take you home. I promised I would. Soon as we've explained a bit as to why you've got to promise you'll never tell about the spring. That's the reason we brung you here. We gotta make you see why.
Hey, there's a pretty good old rowboat. I'll take you out for a row after supper.
No, I will. Let me. I found her first, didn't I, Winnie Foster? Listen, I'll show you where the frogs are.
Hush!
And
Everyone hush. I'll take Winnie rowing on the pond. Good deal to be said, and I think we better hurry up and say it. I got a feeling there ain't a whole lot of time.
That's funny, Paul. Seems to me like time's the only thing we got a lot of.
You worry, Tuck? What's got to you? No one saw us on the way up. Well, now, wait a bit. Yes, they did, come to think of it. There was a man on the road, just outside Tree Gap, but he didn't say nothing.
He knows me, though. He'll tell my father he saw me.
He knows you? But you didn't call out to him, child. Why not?
I was too scared to do anything.
I never thought we'd come to the place where we'd be scaring children. I guess there's no way to make it up to you, Winnie, but I'm sure most awful sorry it had to happen like that. Who was this man you saw?
I don't know his name, but he's a pretty nice man, I guess. He came to our house this morning, but he didn't go inside.
Well, that don't sound too serious, Pa. Just some stranger passing by.
Just the same, we gotta get you home again, just as fast as we can. I got a feeling this whole thing is going to come apart like wet bread. But first, we gotta talk. The pond's the best place. Pond's got answers. Come along, child. Let's go out on the water.
Tuck takes Winnie's hand and leads her out the front door and towards the pond where they climb into a boat. May, Miles, and Jessie step out onto the porch, looking across the water at the setting sun.
The sky is a ragged blaze of red and pink and orange. The sun is dropping fast, with soft, red, sliding egg yolk. In the fading light, the trees along the banks lose their dimensions, flattening into silhouettes pasted to a paling sky.
There's that bullfrog, warning us to beware, warning us to be quiet.
See those dimples on the water? Means it's feeding time. Best time of all for fishing. They come up to feed. Ah, never mind you that bullfrog.
There's that bullfrog again. There's a thrush from over by those pines and birches.
What a beautiful sound. So pure and clear and lovely.
Know what that is? All around us, Winnie? Life. Moving, growing, changing, never the same 2 minutes together. This water. Look at it every morning, and it looks the same, but it ain't. All night long it's been moving, coming in through the stream, back there in the west, clipping out through the stream down east. Always quiet, always new, moving on. Can't hardly see that current, can you? But it's always there. The water's always moving on. Someday, after a long while, it comes to the ocean.
There's our friend singing again.
And there's his brother's answer.
Or his mother's.
Know what happens then? The water, the sun sucks it up right out of the ocean and carries it back in clouds. And then it rains, and the rain falls into the stream, and the stream keeps moving on, taking it all back again. It's a wheel, Winnie. Everything's a wheel, turning and turning, never stopping. Frogs is part of it, and the bugs and the fish, and the wood thrush too. And people. but never the same ones. Always coming in new, always growing and changing, and always moving on. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's the way it is.
Time to get to move on with your chores, boys. I'll put the horse to bed. Help me with those dishes, Ma.
But us Tucks, Winnie, we're stuck. Stuck so we can't move on. We ain't part of the wheel no more. Dropped off, Winnie. Left behind. And everywhere around us, things is moving and growing and changing. You, for instance. Child now, someday a woman. And after that, moving on to make room for the new children.
Winnie stands abruptly, rocking the boat.
I don't want to die.
No, not now. Your time's not now. Dying's part of the wheel. Right there next to being born. You can't pick out the pieces you like and leave the rest. Being part of the whole thing, that's the blessing. But it's passing us by, Tucks. Living's heavy work, but off to one side the way we are. It's useless, too. Don't make sense. If I'd known how to climb back on the wheel, I'd do it in a minute. You can't have living without dying. You can't call it living what we got. We just are, we just be, like rocks beside the road. I want to grow again and change. That means I gotta move on at the end of it, and I want that too. Listen, Winnie, something you don't find out how you feel about until afterwards. People knowed about the spring down here in Tree Gap, they'd all come running like pigs to slops. They'd trample each other trying to get some of that water. That'd be bad enough. But afterwards, can you imagine? All the little ones a little forever. All the old ones old forever. Can you picture what that means? Forever? The wheel will keep on going round. The water rolling back to the ocean, but the people would have turned into nothing but rocks by the side of the road. 'Cause they don't know till after, and then it'd be too late. Do you see now, child? You understand? Oh, Lord, I just gotta make you understand.
Paul, come back. The horse is gone. Can you hear me, Paul? Someone stole the horse.
It's begun, Winnie. Our secret's begun to unravel. Where will it end? Oh, Lord, where will it all end?
I do understand. I do. I don't want to, but I do. Oh, how I want to feel safe again.
A breeze stirs the trees. A lone, friendless breeze, adding a new tension to the air.
A change is coming.
Back in Tree Gap, at the Foster's house, Granny enters the parlor with a lamp.
I'm coming. All right, I'm coming.
Ah, good evening, Mrs. Foster.
May I come in?
The stranger walks swiftly into the room. He sits down in a chair in the Foster's spotless parlor, crossing his long, thin legs. He hangs his hat on his knee and smiles, his eyes nearly closed.
I can see you've been waiting up. Well, I have happy news for you.
I know where they've taken the little girl.
You know where Winnie is? Thank God.
I know where she is. I followed the kidnappers, you see. She is with them now.
As soon as I saw they'd arrived at their destination, I borrowed their horse, turned around, and came directly back. You've been looking for her all day, of course. It must be quite a worry.
I must tell her parents. They'll be
No, I've come a long way looking for a wood exactly like the one you've got next door here. It would mean a great deal to me to own it. Now understand, I wouldn't cut down many trees, just a few.
You wouldn't find it different at all, really.
Dreadful thing, kidnapping.
Isn't it fortunate that I was a witness? Why, without me, you might never have heard a word.
They're rough country people, the ones that took her. There's just no telling what illiterates like that might do.
Yes, it looks as if I'm the only person in the whole world who knows where to find her.
What exactly are you saying?
Now, I don't have to spell things out for a woman like you. I've got what you want, and you've got what I want. Of course, you might not find her in time.
So, I want the wood, and you want the child. It's a trade. A simple, clean, cut trade.
You can't be serious. That's blackmail.
I know. Well?
The stranger stares at her, and she looks down at the floor.
Done and done. I knew right away. I said to myself, now here is an intelligent, reasonable woman.
So, All that remains is to write it up on paper, giving me the wood and to sign it.
It's best, don't you agree, to keep things legal and tidy? The rest is easy.
Nothing to it. I'll go to your local constable and we'll ride out and bring back the child and the criminal.
But
No. Oh no, Mrs. Foster. I understand your concern, but none of you must come along.
We'll do this my way. There now, your terrible ordeal is as good as over, isn't it? I'm so thankful I was here to help you out.
Part 2.
The air hangs heavy at night, and still, even without the sun, it is mindlessly hot.
Unspeakably hot. Too hot to move, or think,
or wait.
At the Tuck's house, May busies herself, making the sofa into a bed for Winnie. Tuck, Miles, and Jessie stand throughout the room. Winnie sits awkwardly in a chair.
This beats all, though, don't it, Pa? Coming up to a person's house and stealing their horse right out from under their nose?
I got to give you that, but the question is, was it just some ordinary thief, or was it someone that had some special reason? I don't like it. I got a bad feeling about the whole thing.
Hush now, Tuck. You're too much of a worrier. There's nothing we can do about it now, so there's no sense fussing. Now, you got no reason to think there's anything peculiar about it anyway. Come on, we'll get a good night's sleep and figure it out in the morning when we're fresh. Boys, up you go, and don't get talking. It'll keep us awake.
Good night, Ma, Pa. Good night, Winnie Foster.
Good night. Guess I'll turn in myself. Good night.
Good night.
Winnie, child, you bed down too. You'll sleep first rate on the sofa here.
Thank you.
I'm sorry about everything. I just didn't know no other way but to bring you back with us. I know it ain't very happy for you here, but... Well, anyway, you have a good talk with Tuck.
I guess so.
That's good. Well, I'm going to bed. Get a good night's sleep.
I'll try.
We've been alone so long. I guess we don't know how to do with visitors. But still and all, it's a good feeling. You being here with us. I wish you was ours. Good night.
May leaves. Winnie is alone, and the room is still. She lies down on the bed.
It can't be true. You're crazy. Mama? Papa?
Tuck comes through the door in a long white nightshirt and walks towards Winnie. He peers at her anxiously.
You resting easy, child?
Oh, yes, thank you.
I didn't mean to go disturbing you, but I've been thinking I ought to be sitting out here with you till you go to sleep.
You don't have to do that. I'm all right.
Well, but if you want something, will you holler? I'll be just in the next room. I'd be out here like a shot. It's been quite a time since we had a natural-growing child in the house. Well, try to get some sleep. That sofa there, I guess it ain't the kind of thing you're used to.
It's fine.
The bed's no better, or I'd switch with you.
He pauses, bends over, kisses Winnie on the cheek, and leaves. A moment later, Jessie sneaks into the moonlit room.
Hey, Winnie Foster, you asleep?
Winnie sits up suddenly and pulls the blanket around her.
No, not yet.
Well, then, listen. I've been thinking it over. Pa's right about having to keep the secret. It's not hard to see why. But the thing is, you knowing about the water already, and living right next to it. Well, listen. How'd it be if you was to wait till you're 17? Same age as me. Heck, that's only 6 years off. Then you could go and drink some, and then you could go away with me. We could get married even. That'd be pretty good, wouldn't it? We could have a grand old time, go all over the world, see everything. Ma, Pa, and Miles, they don't know how to enjoy what we got. But heck, Winnie, life's to enjoy yourself, isn't it? What else is it good for? And you and me, we could have a good time that never stopped. Wouldn't that be something?
Yes.
You think on it, Winnie Foster. Think on it some. And see if it don't sound good. Anyway, I'll see you in the morning. All right?
All right.
Jessie leaves. Winnie sits, eyes wide.
He's so beautiful, it must be true.
The moon shall rise, and the darkness will fall, and the change will keep happening to us all. But if you so choose, you can drink from this spring, and you'll stay the same despite everything.
The darkness begins to lighten, circling back towards day, but the heat still threatens its seemingly endless hold on the air. Morning promises no relief.
Back in Tree Gap, the constable runs just ahead of the stranger, wheezing and sweating.
First they roused me out of bed in the middle of the night, after I've been out since sunup looking for that child, and now I suppose you're gonna try to run me all the way. I gotta tell you, that horse of mine is none too strong. I don't have to hurry her as a rule, so most of the time it don't matter. Seems to me we could have waited till dawn anyway.
The Fosters have been waiting since yesterday morning. Naturally, they're very upset. The sooner we get there, the sooner that child will be with them again.
So you're gonna tell me how long this is going to take? How far we gotta go?
20 miles north.
20 miles? We're up in the foothills? That's a fair way, all right. Might as well relax. We'll be right in 3-4 hours. Yes, sir. Something new for these parts, kidnapping. Never had a case like this before that I know of. And I've been in charge going on 15 years.
You don't say.
It's a fact. Of course, we got a brand new jailhouse, did you notice? Listen, it's a dandy. Give those folks nice, clean accommodations. We even got a gallows of our own, if we ever need it. Keeps down trouble just having it there. Say, you're kind of a close-lipped feller, ain't you?
Look here. Do you mind if I ride on ahead?
I'm worried about that child. You know how to get there now. I'll go on ahead and keep watch.
Well, all right. You're in such a ding-danged hurry. But don't do nothing till I get there.
I won't. I'll wait outside until you come.
Whew! Golly, did you get a gander at that suit? Whew. Oh well, takes all kinds. 20 miles. Woo!
Back at the Tuck's house, Winnie is asleep.
Morning. The light is still pale.
In the ring of trees around the pond, the birds are celebrating,
giving the new day a brass band's worth of greeting.
Winnie rises and crosses to the door, staring out at the pond.
Jessie?
Miles enters the room with fishing poles.
Oh, Miles. Good morning.
Good morning. Glad you're awake. Come on, you can help me catch some fish for breakfast.
With the fishing poles slung across both their shoulders, they leave the house and walk toward the pond.
Watch out for the hooks. How'd you sleep?
All right.
That's good. I'm glad. Ever been fishing before?
No.
You'll like it. It's fun.
They sit quietly with dangling poles in the water and wait for a bite. A dragonfly, a brilliant blue jewel, darts up and pauses over the lily pads, then swings up and away. From the nearest bank, a bullfrog speaks.
It's beautiful here. So peaceful.
There'll be trout down in those weeds and stems. Here's your pole. Just ease the hook into the water. You'll know when you got a bite. Remember I told you I had 2 children? Well, one of them was a girl. I took her fishing, too. Her name was Anna. Lord, how sweet she was, that child. It's queer to think she'd be close to 80 now, if she's even still alive, and my son, he'd be 82.
Why didn't you just take them to the spring and give them some of the special water?
Well, we didn't realize about the spring while we were still on the farm. Afterwards, I thought about going to find them. I wanted to, heaven knows, but Winnie, how'd it have been if I had? My wife was nearly 40 by then, and the children, they'd have been near growed themselves. They'd have had a pa close to the same age as they was. No, it'd have all been so mixed up and peculiar, it just wouldn't have worked. The fewer people know about the spring, fewer there are to tell about it.
You really are going to bring me home today, aren't you?
Of course, Winnie. Of course we are.
Winnie looks up at Miles and suddenly kisses his cheek. He looks away, blushing. Winnie looks straight ahead, blushing also.
There certainly are a lot of frogs around here.
That's so. They'll keep coming too, long as the turtles stay away. Snappers, now, they'll eat a frog as soon as they look at him.
It'd be nice if nothing ever had to die.
Well now, I don't know. If you think on it, you'd come to see there'd be so many creatures, including people. We'd be all squeezed up right next to each other before long.
I guess you're right.
Hey, you got a bite. Fresh trout for breakfast, Winnie. Shucks, it got away.
I'm kind of glad. You fish, Miles. I'm not so sure I want to. What will you do if you have so much time?
Well, someday I'll find a way to do something important. The way I see it, it's no good hiding yourself away like Pa and lots of other people. It's no good just thinking about your own pleasure either, like Jessie. People gotta do something useful if they're gonna take up space in the world.
But what will you do?
No, I don't know yet. I ain't had no schooling or nothing, and that makes it harder. I'll find a way, though. I'll locate something. Oh, hey, now I got one.
Miles struggles with the fish for a moment, then pulls with great force, and it lands in between them. It's beautiful and horrible, too, with gleaming, rainbow-colored scales.
Put it back, Miles. Put it back right away.
All right, Winnie.
Will it be all right?
It'll be fine. People gotta be meat eaters sometimes, though. And that means killing things.
I know, but still.
Yes, I know.
They pick up their poles from the ground and walk towards the house. Tuck meets them.
Didn't get a bite, eh?
No. Nothing we wanted to keep.
Never mind. You're likely out of practice. Tomorrow, maybe.
Sure, tomorrow.
May walks into the parlor, carrying a tray of plates stacked high with flapjacks.
I have breakfast all ready. No fish, eh?
No fish.
Well, morning, Jessie. Slug a bed, you come near to missing breakfast. Miles and Winnie been up for hours out fishing and back already.
Oh, where's the fish then? How come we got nothing but flapjacks?
No luck. They wasn't biting for some reason.
Reason is, Miles don't know how to fish.
Hey now.
It don't matter. We got plenty without. Come and get your plates, everybody.
They pass plates and sit down. Jessie sits next to Winnie. A small smile crosses her face.
Now this is real nice. Everyone's sitting down together and having Winnie here, why, it's just like a party.
That's the truth.
Thank you.
Still, we got things to discuss. There's the business of the horse getting stolen. We gotta get Winnie home where she belongs. How are we gonna do that without the horse?
After breakfast, Tuck. Don't spoil a good meal with a lot of talk. We'll get to it soon enough.
I wish I could stay with you forever in this house. Grow up here and maybe when I'm 17, I could...
Winnie licks the syrup from her fingers and smiles. Shyly, she looks around the table, eyes landing on Jessie.
I love you all.
Who's that?
I can't imagine. We ain't never had callers in all the years we've been here. And on the kitchen door, too.
I'll go, Ma.
No, stay where you are. I'll go.
May puts her plate down carefully, stands up and straightens her skirts. She crosses into the kitchen to open the door.
Good morning, Mrs. Tuck. It is Mrs. Tuck, isn't it? May I come in?
The stranger walks into the sunlit parlor. May follows him. He stands for a moment, his face mild and without expression, but there is something unpleasant about it that Winnie senses at once.
You're safe now, Winifred.
I've come to take you home.
We was gonna bring her back directly ourselves. She ain't been in no danger.
You're Mr. Tuck, I suppose?
I am.
Well, you may as well sit down again. You too, Mrs. Tuck.
I have a great deal to say, and very little time for saying it.
Who in tarnation do you think
Hush, boy! Let him speak his piece.
That's wise. I'll be as brief as possible.
When I was growing up, my grandmother often told me stories about a dear friend of hers who married into a very odd family. Now, this woman lived with her husband for 20 years, and strange to say, he never got any older.
She did, but he didn't. And neither did his mother, or his father, or his brother.
People began to wonder about that family.
And my grandmother's friend decided at last that they were witches or worse.
She left her husband, took their 2 children, and came to live at my grandmother's house for a short while.
I don't know what became of her.
But my mother still remembers playing with the children.
There was a son and a daughter.
Anna.
Now you got no call to come and bring us pain.
You got something to say? You better come to the point and say it.
Very well.
I was fascinated by my grandmother's story. People who never grew older?
It was fantastic. It took possession of me. I decided to devote my life to finding out if it could be true. And I've never given up. For the past 20 years, that family has haunted my dreams.
Finally, a few months ago, in desperation, I left my home and started to look out for them, following the route they were said to have taken when they left.
No one I asked along the way knew anything about them or even recognized their name.
Then yesterday morning,
I heard a music box.
My mother had told me that the mother of the peculiar family had a music box which played a very particular tune. My grandmother's friend and her children,
Anna, was that the girl's name?
Knew it by heart and taught it to my mother, who in turn taught it to me.
It was that very tune I heard yesterday morning, coming from the Foster's wood.
And a few hours later, I saw that family at last, taking Winifred away. I followed and heard their story. Every word.
What are you gonna do?
The Fosters have given me the wood in exchange for bringing Winifred home. I was the only one who knew where she was, you see.
So, it was a trade. Yes, I followed you, Mrs. Tuck. And then I took your horse and went directly back.
Horse thief!
Get to the point. What are you gonna do?
It's very simple. Like all magnificent things, it's very simple. The wood and the spring belong to me now. I have a paper, all signed and legal, to prove it.
I'm going to sell the water, you see.
You can't do that. You gotta be out of your mind.
But I'm not going to sell it to just anybody. Only to certain people.
People who deserve it. And it will be very, very expensive. But who wouldn't give a fortune to live forever?
I wouldn't.
Exactly. Ignorant people like you should never have the opportunity.
However, since it's already too late to keep you out, you may as well join me in what I'm going to do. You can show me where the spring is and help me to advertise. We'll set up demonstrations.
You know, things that would be fatal to anybody else, but won't affect you in the least. I'll pay for your assistance, of course. It won't take too long for the word to spread, and then you can go about your way.
Well, what do you say?
Freaks! You want us to be freaks in a patent medicine show.
Of course, if the idea doesn't appeal to you, you needn't be in on it.
I can find the spring and manage just as well without you.
You're a madman. You can't let no one know about that water. Don't you see what would happen?
I've given you your chance, and you've refused it. I'll take the child and be on about my business.
The stranger moves to Winnie and grabs her arm.
No, I won't go with you. I won't.
The Tucks come up instantly to their feet. Winnie struggles to pull away from his firm grasp. May rushes to the kitchen.
Let her go. Winnie Foster, let her go. Don't touch her. Don't touch my
Let that girl go.
Let her go. Let her go.
Get away!
He drags Winnie towards the kitchen door. May appears, holding a shotgun as if it were a club.
You leave that child be.
The stranger stares at her and begins to back out through the parlor and into the yard.
Did you really believe you could keep that water to yourselves? Your selfishness is really quite extraordinary.
And your stupidity. Once Winnie drinks some of the water, she'll do just as well for my demonstrations. There's nothing you can do to stop me.
He turns to leave with Winnie still in his grasp. May raises the shotgun.
Stop.
Mom,
Don't
no.
do it. Not Winnie. You ain't gonna do a thing like that to Winnie. And you ain't gonna give out the secret.
In a rush, May crosses quickly, swings the gun towards him like a club, smashing him in the head. He falls to the ground. The Tucks gather around the still, limp body. Winnie runs to Tuck and buries her head in his jacket.
I've never been so envious towards a man before in all my life.
No, don't say that. Don't.
The constable enters the yard, sweat dripping down his forehead.
Well now, I saw your fight from back there in the trees. Is he dead?
The constable bends carefully over the still body.
Nope. Leastways, not yet. What did you hit him for?
He was taking the child away. He was taking her against her will.
Ding dang it, woman. What you trying to say? Taking the child against her will? That's what you done. You kidnapped the child.
No, they didn't kidnap me. I came because I wanted to.
Oh,
That's
Winnie.
right.
You wanted to. You wanted to?
That's right. They're my friends.
Well, anyway, I gotta take charge here. Get this feller into the house before he fries. I'm telling you now, if he don't make it, you're in a pickle, you people. Now here's what we'll do. You, woman, gotta go with me. You got to be locked up right away. And the little girl, I gotta get her home. Look after him. I'll get back as quick as I can with the doctor. All right, let's get moving.
Ma, we'll get you out right away.
Sure, Ma.
Don't worry about me, no. I'll make out.
Make out? You people beat all. If this feller dies, you'll get the gallows. Make out.
The gallows? Hanging?
That's the law. Now let's get going.
The constable pushes May in front of him as Jesse and Miles lift the body and carry him into the house.
Mr. Tuck, don't worry. Everything's going to be all right.
Woman, you better keep in front of me so's I can keep an eye on you.
I can handle myself, young man.
And as for you, you better hope that feller don't die on you. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Everything will be all right.
You'll see. I promise.
Winnie tightly hugs Tuck once more before taking May's hand gently and following the constable.
Come along, child. Stay with me.
The sky slides into blackness over the trees. There's not the least hint of a breeze to soften the heavy August night.
At
At the Foster's house, Winnie sits in a rocking chair, eyes staring, rocking back and forth. Granny stands close, and the constable stands by the door.
Winnie, you're home. We were all so worried about you. Thank God it's finally over. This has been the longest day of my life. It's lasted forever. To think you were kidnapped.
She was not. She went of her own free will. That's what she says.
The constable turns and leaves. Granny stares at Winnie.
Oh, it can't be true. Not a bit. It was the elves. We heard them. They must have bewitched you.
But it is true.
No, I don't believe it. Why would you go?
I just wanted to. And they were very kind to me. They gave me flapjacks and took me fishing. They're good people.
No, it can't be true. I don't believe it. They're kidnappers. How can they be good?
They are, that's all. Did you really give that man the wood to trade for me?
Yes. Perhaps he won't want it now. I suppose the wood will be ours again if that man should. That is, if he doesn't...
You mean if he dies?
You should go to bed now, Winnie.
I will. Good night.
Good night.
Granny, I feel funny, different from before. I feel lonely. Granny, I don't...
Now, don't you fret. Everything will be just fine in the morning.
You don't understand.
Of course I do, Winnie. You just need some rest.
The sun has become a circle without edges.
A roar without sound.
But the sky is changing.
The leaves of the trees turn underside up.
Oh, how I wish it would rain.
Winnie hears a knock and walks to the top of the stairs. The constable stands, talking to Granny.
That's that, Mrs. Foster. We can't press no kidnapping charges since your little girl claims there wasn't no kidnapping. But it don't matter now anyway. The doc just got back. That feller, the one you sold your land to, he's dead. Yep, she got him a good one all right. He never come to. So it's an open and shut case since I seen her do it. Eyewitness. No question about it, they'll hang her for sure.
He goes. Granny stares at Winnie.
I'm going outside.
All right, but come if it gets too hot, won't you?
Winnie stands in her yard, then notices the toad and runs toward the fence.
Toad? Hello? I'm so glad to see you. You won't believe what has happened. I saw a man killed. On purpose. To keep a secret. Oh, Toad, I have to help Mrs. Tuck. She can't go to the gallows because no matter what they do, she won't be able to die. Oh, but look at you. You look terrible. All dried out and parched. You must be thirsty. No wonder on a day like this. Granny, can I have some water?
Certainly, dear.
I'd better leave you right here. I don't think Granny will like you as much as I do.
Here's your water, Winifred.
There's a toad out front that looks as if he's about to die of thirst.
A toad. Nasty things, toads.
Not this one. This one is always there. And I like him. Can't I give him a drink of water?
Toads don't drink water, Winifred. They take it in through their skins when it rains. Like a sponge.
But it hasn't rained in forever. I could sprinkle some water on him, couldn't I? That would help.
Well, I suppose so. But don't stay out here too much longer. I never saw such heat in my life.
Granny disappears inside the house as Winnie moves again towards the fence.
Toad? Toad! He's gone. Well, he must be all right if he can hop.
Winnie!
Jessie!
Winnie grasps Jessie's hands through the fence.
I'm so glad to see you. What can we do? We have to get her out.
Miles got a plan, but I don't see how it can work. He knows a lot about carpenting and says he can take Ma's window frame right straight out of the wall, bars and all, and she can climb through. We're gonna try it tonight when it gets dark.
It sounds like it might work.
Maybe. Only trouble is that constable keeps watching her every minute. He's so darn proud of having a prisoner in that new jail of his. But even if she can climb through the window, he'll come after her once he sees she's gone. Seems to me he'll notice right off. That don't give us much time to get away, but there ain't no other way. Anyhow, I've come to say goodbye. We won't be able to come back here for a long time. If we get away, they'll be looking for Ma. Winnie, listen, I won't see you again. Not for ages. Look now, here's a bottle of water from the spring. You can keep it, and then no matter where you are when you're 17, Winnie, you can drink it and come find us. We'll leave directions somehow. Winnie, please say you will.
He presses the little bottle into her hands, and Winnie takes it, closing her fingers over it.
Jessie, wait! I can help. When your mother climbs out of the window, I'll climb in and take her place. I can wrap myself up in her blanket, and when the constable looks in, he won't be able to tell the difference. Not in the dark. I can hump up and look a lot bigger. Miles can even put the window back. That would give you time to get away. You'd have at least till morning.
Yeah, it might work. It might just make the difference. But I don't know, is Pa's going to want you taking any risks? I mean, what'll they say to you after, when they find out?
I don't know, but it doesn't matter. Tell your father I want to help. I have to help. If it wasn't for me, there wouldn't have been any trouble in the first place. Tell him I have to.
Well, all right. Can you get out after dark?
Yes.
Then at midnight, Winnie. I'll be waiting for you, right here.
Winifred, who's that you're talking to?
It's just a boy, Granny.
She turns, and Jessie is gone.
What a week this has been. Thank the Lord it's almost over.
Yes, it's almost over.
It's late. We should go in.
Granny, do you trust me?
What odd questions you've begun asking. Of course, dear.
Would you trust me even if I did something that seemed bad on the outside, but that deep down I knew was really good?
If I thought you really believed it was right, I'd trust you no matter what.
Thank you.
Winnie hugs Granny.
Good night.
Granny leaves, and Winnie holds the bottle out to the light.
At midnight, I will make a difference in the world.
Over the treetops, on the far horizon, there's a flash. Of white. It throbs without sound. Like pain, like pain, like pain. Like pain, like pain, like pain, like pain, like pain, like pain, like
Winnie?
Jessie!
Are you ready?
Yes.
Then come on.
He reaches out his hand and she takes it. Lightning flashes
Come on.
and illuminates Jessie and Winnie running past the gallows.
Winnie, we're almost there. Don't give up now.
They stop in the side alley of a building where Tuck holds a ladder and Miles tugs at the bar of a high-barred window.
Hey, Winnie!
Hi, Winnie.
Hello?
It won't budge.
Using a prying tool, Miles wrenches the nails loose and pulls, breaking the bar free from the wall. May appears at the window in the shadows. Miles and Jessie help her through the window. On the ground and all together, the Tucks circle Winnie, hugging and rejoicing.
We did it.
May is free.
We did it!
We did it.
Goodness,
We saved you, Ma.
May!
I can't believe
so good to see you.
Jessie pulls Winnie aside and looks fiercely into her eyes, a smile burning on his rain-covered face.
Remember.
Winnie climbs up the ladder and crawls in through the window into the cell. Miles shoves the bar back into place, and Winnie is left alone. She stares out into the dark.
Miles? Miles, will you put back the nails? Miles? Miles! My tucks, my darling, are gone.
Days later, Winnie is home, standing in her yard by the fence. The constable comes from the Foster house and walks out the gate. He pauses, turns and looks at her.
It's been 2 weeks. You're safe now, but if you were older, you'd be in jail right now. That was a crime what you did. A crime, do you hear me? You are an accomplice to an escaped murderer, but too young to be punished by law. Worse luck, for you need punishing badly. And I'd do it myself. I would. Well, I don't know what I'd do, but I'd think of something good.
Winnie watches him leave, and then looks about her yard.
Toad, hello! Oh, I don't know how to tell you all that has happened this time. The tucks are gone. I can't leave the yard or go anywhere without Mother or Granny. But the other children like me. They used to think I was too prissy, but not anymore. Don't! Go away, dog. Stop that. Leave him alone. Leave my Toad alone.
Winnie reaches through the fence to rescue the toad from the dog.
There. You're safe.
She looks at the toad in her hands, then reaches into her pocket and pulls Jessie's bottle out. She uncorks it and pours the water over the toad.
There's always more water in the wood. Just in case, when I'm 17, I decide to go. But you're safe now. Safe. Forever.
Winnie releases the toad from her grasp and watches it as it hops away. Granny comes from the house and stands with Winnie, a hand on her shoulder. Winnie waves gently at the disappearing toad.
We find May and Tuck on their wagon, driving steadily towards the modernized village of Tree Gap.
Well, May, it's Tree Gap again. Look how it's changed.
Well, it's been nearly 70 years, Tuck, since that time with Winnie. Things are bound to change in 70 years.
Look, May. That's where the wood used to be.
That fella back at the gas station was right after all. Completely gone. Struck by lightning and plowed under.
God finally corrected his plan.
Well, at least we got nothing more to worry about.
Her cottage, that's gone too.
Yes, that's where it was, I do believe. Of course, it's been so long since we was here, I can't tell for certain.
Look, May, it's the cemetery.
The wagon stops. Tuck gets down from his seat and walks amongst the stones. He pauses, kneels, and wipes off a headstone.
In loving memory, Winifred Foster Jackson. Dear wife, dear mother, dear grandmother, 1870 to 1948. So, 2 years. She's been gone 2 years. Good girl.
Tuck stands and returns to the wagon.
She's gone?
She's gone.
Poor Jessie.
He knowed it, though. At least he knowed she wasn't coming. We all knowed that. A long time ago.
Just the same. Well, where to now, Tuck? No need to come back here no more.
That's so. Let's just head on out this way. We'll locate something.
All right.
Look out for that toad!
Sitting in the middle of the road. Darn fool thing must think it's gonna live forever.
August is over.
There is the feeling that the year has begun its downward arc, that the wheel is turning again,
Slowly now.
but soon to go faster, turning once more.
In its changeless sweep of change,